Here we are. This is Embrace Ranch. It's beautiful this time of evening when you see all the lights coming as the sun sets. Look up and there's our beautiful mountain, and there's part of our home. Beautiful southern Arizona. It's been very hot all day, but now it's getting around evening time, and now what you see is how beautiful it is. You can see the small watermelon hanging there, and that's my Great Pyrenees dog in the background. He follows me and marches me everywhere I go, keeping me safe and just enjoying the company. Down here, what you can see, hopefully, is my beautiful butternut squash down here. Actually, I'm sorry, it's not butternut, it's there they are. Isn't that beautiful? There's a lot of those underneath this bush and in this vine. That is going to be wonderful. They're actually acorn squashes. They're doing great. And if you notice on the leaves, none of the plants are wilted. They're all vibrant and full of life. And that's because I carefully water my plants early in the morning before it gets hot. And that allows them to store up enough water to get them through the heat of the day. And then just before dark, about this time of day, I come out and I water them again. And that way they're refreshed and ready to start the next morning. If you look here, you can see another beautiful watermelon starting up. So before long, we're going to be having a lot of watermelon, not only for ourselves, but to share with everyone else in the family. Over here is our larger keyhole garden. It's quite a bit longer than the round one. You can make keyhole gardens all different shapes and sizes. I kind of prefer the round ones because they're easier to take care of. You can reach over and get to them very simply. Here again, you can see how the leaves are fresh and crisp. Here's my cantaloupe trellising itself up over the top. This was some things that we had from another project, and we turned them into a way to have something for the vines to climb on, and it seems to be working out really well. Right here, what you see is a nice curry plant. The curry seems to do really well out here in the desert. I love the flavor, mixing it with eggs and curried rice. You can see the blossoms in here. And there's a baby acorn squash forming right here. There's going to be so much beautiful squash here. Over here, we have what I call my little herb garden. As you can see again, it's fine hardware wire, and along with it, you wrap around it with hog wire because a hog wire is much stronger. In the bottom, I put tree branches, leaves, I put straw, paper, newspaper, things of that nature that will break down and compose. And while these plants are growing, and every time they're being watered, sorry, the lighting isn't exactly right here, but while they're growing and being watered, the roots and the water are reaching down inside this bed, decomposing all of these branches and wood chips and the things that are put in here, and turning them once again into rich soil. One of the beautiful things about a keyhole garden is you're making your own soil as you're growing. Also, they require 1/3 of the water that normal gardens do. Here's a big container holding a lot of the types of debris that we would be putting in the bottom of this keyhole garden. You can see the branches and the pieces of grass and the different things that are in here. And you wouldn't think that this was going to break down, but instead of throwing it in the landfill, you put it in there with that wire, and at the top you put about a foot of good soil, and underneath, this is what you have. when you're finished with your garden at the end of 6 or 7 months, all of these branches that look like nothing right now, you will find have turned into absolutely beautiful black rich soil. In the Arizona desert, that's really important because we have a lot of rock, dirt, and caliche. If you look at the side of this mountain and the ground out here, lots of rocks, caliche, and it is not what anybody would consider gardening soil. But you can create your own. So when you're doing this, you're healing the land. At the same time, you're growing food for yourself and plenty to share with everyone else. These are my beautiful Nubian milk goats. I prefer the Nubians from milk goats just because for some reason I fell in love with this type of goat many years ago. The bottom of their pen is filled with all the good things that you'll need to nourish your garden. So when I clean out the pens, all of this stuff in the bottom will turn out to be beautiful soil. Nothing gets wasted when you're handling everything and making sure that each and every item gets utilized to its very best way. These are my meat chickens. And as you can see, they have plenty of room to roam and to function so that no one is overcrowded. The animals are not overcrowded. It keeps them healthy and strong. If they get too crowded, you end up with sick animals. They've got a nice shelter back there. Had to put a fan in there. Got straw on the ground over where they sleep and where they go to cool off. The straw on the ground, I wet it in the morning when I do the watering, and I wet it in the evening when I do my normal watering. So what ends up happening is all this wet straw, with the fan there blowing on the wet straw and their shade, creates a very cool atmosphere for them to grow. Here are another type of beautiful squash trellised up. Mostly they're trellised up on tree branches that we cut off of a tree. Take it and send it up the fence and you've got wonderful trellises for your plants. In this garden we have a lot of yellow squash. Let's see if I can get you a picture down here. There it is. You can see there are like maybe 5 or 6 beautiful yellow squash coming off of here. This plant here is my romaine lettuce gone to seed. You look at that, there are millions and millions of seeds on this. So that means when I go to plant my romaine lettuce, not only will a lot of it plant itself just by dropping to the ground right where we are, but I can save a lot of those seeds for my friends and everyone. Look down here, you can actually see the leaves of the romaine lettuce and how it grows up and breaks open into these beautiful, beautiful seeds. So now what you have is, once again, you're saving seeds. I put some in my hand so you can get a look at what those seeds look like. Little black seeds in my hand there. Those come out. There's enough seed here to plant an acre of beautiful romaine lettuce. Here I have some of my sheep. We have several different types of sheep. These are all meat sheep. They're not wool sheep. The black and white ones that you see in the back part that are coming up here, those are called Dorfers. They're very nice. They're always black and white, generally with the black head. Some of them have a little wool on them, but generally they're not supposed to have very much wool. But we have some mixtures here. The main reason I have these sheep is not really because I want the meat. I have the sheep because nothing gets rid of your weeds better than some sheep. Get in here so you can see one of the babies. Here's one of our little babies right here. She was born just a few months ago. He's doing great. And there we have one of them. This one here, his name is Patch because she has a little patch of white on the side of her. The one with the horns right there, we call him Rain because he was born in the middle of a rainstorm. It's like a couple of the sheep managed to get their way out of the pen while I was doing the videotaping. She's getting ready to put them up. Here's my Here's my beautiful border collie. She's really the hero of this ranch. She's a hard worker. She can run sheep. She can take care of almost every job on this ranch. She even thinks that she's supposed to herd the chickens, which she does. Here we have our miniature horse and a little Navajo pony. They came down to eat their evening meal. They're wonderful friends to have. This is another keyhole garden. You can see the wiring effect. It's a round cylinder type shape. I have strawberries in here. Strawberries really don't like the heat, so I put a little wire piece over the top and cover it with some burlap and wet it in the mornings to keep them from overheating.